Greetings, family. Where's my phone? I just want to make sure, I always have to double check to make sure that you all can hear me. And then I'm going to get right into this. Let me see. Would you all, if you're in here, put a thumbs up just to let me know that you are here and that you can hear me. So I will get started. Are here and that you can hear me. So I will get directly. There we go. I have to double check. You all know, if you've been on my lives and you know that sometimes YouTube they're disrespectful to me. So let's get right into this. Come on in, have a seat. I hope you have your coffee. Depending on what time of day it is, you have your water. Turn your TV up, put your headphones in, and let's get this party started. Sorry, it's not a party. Okay. I have my water. All right, guys. So if you all were on the live this morning, then you all heard, or you probably know now, that Savannah Guthrie has done an interview with the Today Show and also NBC News, right? So let's share this screen. This is part one. This was released how many minutes ago? It was just released today, and I think it's only like 3 hours ago. Oh wow. It's not your fault. Don't do that to yourself. Your mom wouldn't want that. Okay, so we're going to listen to this. We're going to go through this. We have this one and we have part two. So this one's about 15 minutes and part two is about 12 minutes. So I want to play this. So we're going to start this from the beginning. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Happy Thursday. If you're just joining me and you don't know who Savannah Guthrie or Nancy Guthrie is, then Savannah Guthrie works for the Today Show. She's a host or co-host, and her mom on February 1st was abducted, right? She was abducted from her home in Tucson, Arizona. February 1st, today makes day 54 that this woman has been missing. A lot has gone on since then. They've had a raid. They've had a couple raids. They detained a couple people. They questioned them. Nothing has happened. No one has been arrested. The FBI is holding everything close to the chest. Law enforcement is holding everything close to the chest. And as a Tucsonan, right? As a person that lives here in Tucson, been here for 10 years, this is troubling for the community, for the family. I can't imagine what this woman is feeling. Her family, I know that they all have guilt, but we're going to look at this video right now. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Hi, Judy. Hi, Crystal. Well, let's look at this. Wait, where am I? Here we go.
Take me back to the day. It was, I guess, a normal weekend for you.
Yeah.
The weekend your mom went missing. Tell me what you were doing and what happened.
Well, I had given Mike for Christmas a boys' trip to go play tennis. And so he had been gone for the weekend. So I took my kids actually to Carson's.
Mm-hmm.
So we had a beautiful, fun night together. And then I came home. And really, it just got home at the same time that Mike came home. We were just saying hi, putting down our stuff, and the kids were running around. And my sister called me, and I said, "Is everything okay?"
Mm-hmm.
And she said, "No." She said, "Mom's missing." And I said, "What?
Yeah.
What are you talking about?" She said, "She's gone." And she was in a panic. I was in a panic. I'm like, "Call 911.
Yeah.
She's like, "I did. We've called them. They're here." And we thought that she must have had like some kind of medical episode in the night, and that somehow, the paramedics had come because the back doors were propped open,
Hold on. I'm sorry, y'all. Y'all know I have to stop this because I just can't go through and come back. Wait. So for the first time, we're hearing from the family their reaction to what has happened. And then it said the back door was propped open.
episode in the night, and that somehow, the paramedics had come because the back doors were propped open.
So it seems like they thought it was because she's older, that it was some type of medical episode. Maybe she forgot or something like that, right? Because the back door was propped open. Now, I know when I was robbed, they left the gate and the door wide open. Some people are absolutely diabolical with their crimes. You abduct this woman and then you leave the back door propped open?
And that didn't make any sense. We thought maybe they came and there was a stretcher and they took her out the back. But her phone was there and her purse was there and all her things. And
so she confirmed a lot of the things that we have heard. Her phone was there, so it wasn't a robbery. Her phone was there, her purse was there, her personal belongings were still in the home.
Just didn't make any sense. So, Annie and Tommy had already called all the hospitals, but then I'm like, I'm going to call the hospital. So then I started calling the hospitals, and the police were there and talking to her at the same time, and it was just chaos and disbelief.
Within hours, Savannah was making the long journey home to Tucson.
You saw Annie and Cam when you got to their house. Tell me about that moment.
Just disbelief and hugging each other.
So she probably dropped everything and immediately flew to Tucson, where her brother was there and her sister were already there with the police.
I think we were on the phone with the sheriff and trying to, really make clear from the very early moments, Annie and Tommy were saying, this isn't that case that you are used to where someone wanders off. She can't wander off.
Ooh, okay. So I'm happy that we're finally hearing from Savannah's mouth, right? The specific things in regards to the family. So she said that in the beginning, Cameron was and Cameron and the family was saying that, telling the sheriff, like, this isn't normal. This isn't something that normally happens.
Early moments, Annie and Tommy were saying, this isn't that case that you are used to where someone wanders off. She can't wander off. My mom, she was in tremendous pain. Her back was very bad.
Wait, so Annie and Tommaso were telling the sheriff that this isn't your normal silver alert. I think it's called a silver alert, when an elder wanders off. This isn't a normal case, right? This is not a regular someone that wandered off with dementia, but their bodies work. Sometimes with the elders that I'm seeing here, sometimes their mind may go bye-bye, but their bodies work. And then other times their mind is there, but their body doesn't work normally like a younger person. And it's just, people are getting older. I see that with myself.
She was trying to, on a good day, she could walk down to the mailbox and get the mail, but most days not. So there was no wander off. And the doors were propped.
Hold on. This is opening up more questions. My brain is just firing. And you all know, I don't want this to be taken down or whatever, this video, because of me looking at it with the Today Show. But so I'm pausing and I'm talking through it. But so that means whomever kidnapped her or abducted her, did they know of her physical ailments? Some days she could walk to the mailbox. We saw where the mailbox is, right? That's from her front door to where the mailbox is, to the end of the where the road is, right? And she said some days she could walk there and some days she couldn't. So she back issues. So she must have had physical ailments. And I mean, she's 84. We wouldn't think that she would be running marathons. She's 84. So she had physical ailments. So how did they get her from the house to wherever they took her to the closest vehicle, right? Was behind Green Eyes correct when she said that there was a vehicle in the driveway? How did they get a woman with all of these physical ailments to where they took her to? The car couldn't have been parked, but so far, the guy that kidnapped her, the only guy that we saw, this person doesn't look like they're strong enough to carry her. Now, okay, so Denisha, hello, J Cat. Her neighbor said that she walked pretty good. Mm-mm. Would the neighbor know more than the family? I don't know, but let's get back to this.
Her off. My mom, she was in tremendous pain.
Yeah.
Her back was very bad. She was trying to, on a good day, she could walk down to the mailbox and get the mail, but most days not. So there was no wander off. And the doors were propped open.
Yeah.
And there was blood on the front doorstep.
Wait, she said doors. Doors. So that means that both doors were propped open. This is diabolical. Wow. If someone comes to do something like this, I just don't understand criminals, because my doors were propped open. All the doors that they could open when I was robbed in the Gambia, they left the doors open.
And the Ring camera had been yanked off.
Yeah.
And so we were saying, this is
Do something.
this is not
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
This isn't, something is very wrong here.
Yeah.
So they knew from the beginning that this wasn't her walking away. There were too many things that showed that this was nefarious.
Did you guys talk about what possibly could have happened? Like, what could have happened? What went down? Did you?
I think my brother, my siblings are so amazing. My brother, he spent his career.
Oh man. Okay. I'm trying not to cry, guys. I'm trying not to cry. But I will say this, Denisha, she said that JLR interviewed the neighbors, and they said they know Nancy Guthrie for many years. And then there were some people that just said that they knew of Nancy Guthrie. So I personally would think that the family knows more, because we see in the picture when she was, where Savannah has, where Nancy was at the Today Show, she had on a royal blue shirt, and then Savannah had on the orange shirt. And if you can see at the bottom of the camera, she has a cane, so I don't know, but I would think that the family would know better than the neighbors. Some of the neighbors won't even give up their footage. They won't even give up their footage to help Nancy, knowing that this woman was abducted from her home. So it just makes me look at the neighbors a little different. I don't know these people, but if they really cared about this woman and they're like, whoa, she was abducted from our neighborhood, from her home, that means we could be in jeopardy as well. We could be in danger. For them to not give the footage and refuse to give the footage to the FBI, I just feel like, I don't know. I'm looking at the neighbors kind of sideways. We talk about the neighbors that live closest to her, that had her everyday interaction with her. I understand what you're saying. I do. I just feel like the family would know better as to how Nancy. That's just my opinion. I could be wrong. That's just my opinion.
My sibling.
Because I don't know why would Savannah sit here and lie in regards to how hard it was for Nancy to get around, being 84 years old, so that's a big discrepancy. That's the only reason why I'm addressing it, because it's like, if the neighbors are saying one thing, oh well, she got around and they known her for many years, and had everyday interactions with her, and she walked pretty good, and then the family is saying, well, she had back issues and this, and some days she could walk to the mailbox and some days she can't. How many times do we mask what is actually going on with us on the inside because we don't want others to know what is actually happening? How many times are we in an extreme amount of pain and we still just go on about our business? So I don't know, but it's interesting. It's interesting. Thank you for your input on that.
And the Ring camera had been yanked off.
Yeah.
And so we were saying, this is
Do something.
this is not
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
This isn't, something is very wrong here.
Yeah. Did you guys talk about what possibly could have happened? Like what could have happened? What went down? Did you?
I think my brother, I mean, my siblings are so amazing. My brother, he spent his career in the military and worked in intelligence and is a fighter pilot and is brilliant. And he saw very clearly right away what this was.
Yeah.
And even on the phone, when I called him, he knew.
He knew.
And he said, I think she's been kidnapped
Mm,
for ransom.
Jesus.
And I said,
Yeah.
what?
Yeah.
Well, why? What? And then, I mean, it sounds so like, how dumb could I be? But I didn't want to believe. I just said, do you think because of me?
Mm. Oh man,
And he said,
that's a lot of guilt.
I'm sorry, sweetie, but yeah, maybe.
Mm,
But I knew that.
mm,
And he said, I'm sorry, sweetie, but yeah, maybe.
damn.
But I knew that.
Yeah.
You did.
I hope not. I mean, we still don't know.
Mhm.
Honestly, we don't know anything.
No.
We don't know anything.
Now that part, honestly, we don't know anything. But I mean, it's easy for her to feel like, you think she was kidnapped because of me. Well, unfortunately, you know, sh Savannah followed her dreams and her aspirations in regards to her career, and the you're on TV, the wealthier you are, of course, you never know who's watching. So that's just very sad. It's very sad. Wow. I just hope that something, because no one wants to carry that guilt, right? No one wants to carry that guilt.
So I don't know
Yeah.
that it's because she's my mom and somebody thought, oh, that girl, that lady has money, we can make a quick buck. I mean, that would make sense, but we don't know. But yeah, that's probably, which is too much to bear. To think that I brought this to her bedside, that it's because of me.
Mm. Mm.
And I just say, I'm so sorry, Mommy. I'm so sorry. And I'm sorry to my sister and my brother and my kids and my nephew and Tommy
Mm.
and my brother-in-law. I'm like, so sorry. I'm so sorry. If it is me, I'm so sorry.
It's not all on her though. It's not on her, right? She shouldn't. Criminals are criminals, and I'm always surprised at what criminals do because I don't have a criminal mind. I don't have a criminal mindset. I'm not a criminal. So, when people do diabolical things, it's not. I don't. This is not the normal. I'm not police. I don't. I don't see the abnormal every day, the diabolical things that criminals do. But she cannot take the full blame of this, right? It's the blame is on the criminal. But I think that there is guilt because there were certain things where Nancy wasn't fully protected. Nancy is not a regular person. Nancy Guthrie, yes, they maybe around here in Tucson. She's been living here for since the 70s, or whatever. Maybe around here because it's so laid back. There's this sense of, I always say this, there's this false sense of security in affluent neighborhoods, right? If you're from the urban community or you're from the inner city, lock down everything, lock it down, lock it down, lock it down, lock it down. But they were saying that the back door was left open. Nancy's been living there since the 70s. She left the back door open and things. This happens. People leave. I just don't lock everything down. Maybe because I watch true crime and I know that there are some people that are touched by some demons in this world, on this planet, but there's going to be a level of guilt with many of the family members because there were certain balls that were dropped in regards to Nancy's abduction. The subscription to the Ring camera, mom, lock your doors. Oh, it's okay. Lock your doors. I'm a celebrity. We saw what happened with, yes, that was an inside job, but we saw what happened to Jennifer Hudson's mom and her family. You don't know how crazy people are. I'm not even Savannah Guthrie. I'm nowhere close to her. And I got a stalker. You see what I'm saying? So you just don't know when people in their criminal minds, we have no idea what a criminal mind would do unless you have a criminal mind, right? So it's not on her. Okay, so and in regards to Sheriff Nano screwing this investigation from day one, I wonder if when he's in front of the board of supervisors, if they're going to ask, they're probably not going to ask him about that because they're going to be questioning him under oath in regards to what he has said in regards to his job under oath, right? There are questions, there are discrepancies as to what he said under oath when he got this job as a sheriff. So that's what they're questioning him about. But I wonder if the way he handled this investigation, if that is what pushed once this information came out in regards to him possibly or allegedly lying under oath, if that's what pushed this, because people are very upset how he handled this. Yes, even the people that watch this, online from afar, but people, Tucsonans, are very upset with how this case was handled. And this is a retired woman. This is a retired community. Tucson has a huge retirement community here. So I think a lot of the elders, not just the younger people, but I think a lot of the elders are really watching this and concerned as to how this case is going to turn out. Denisha said it's not on her at all. It's a guesstimation that there was someone obsessed with her and that's why they kidnapped her. But the neighbors said they didn't even know who Savannah was. So, and we heard that, right? The neighbors didn't know who Savannah was. But when there's a stalker, right? Okay, so say we heard Dr. Q, right, on JLR's channel. Excellent interview, right? And that was his guesstimation, right? Air quotes, like Denisha said. That was his guesstimation. But even if someone didn't have, what is it? I can't remember the medical term for it, but even if they weren't obsessed with Savannah, knowing I didn't know who Savannah was. I don't watch the Today Show, right? But if someone just knew who Savannah was and that's her mother, she's older, that's an easy lick. We just don't know. And that's the thing as to what is going on now. That's the thing. That's what's going on now. right? Because Savannah said, we don't know anything. So everyone is just guessing. What we do know is Miss Guthrie, Nancy, an 84-year-old, was abducted from her home in the middle of the night. That's what we do know. We do know that it was aggressive. It wasn't, hey, come on, come with us. There was blood. The doors were left open. You know, that's diabolical. You know, I'm gonna rob you, then I'm gonna leave your door open because they're probably jealous and hating. That was my situation in the Gambia. But it's just criminals, unless you have a criminal mind and you work for the FBI and you're dealing with criminals all the time, we have no idea how these people think. I don't. Let me be specific. I have no idea how a criminal thinks because I'm not a criminal. But it's just sad because we don't know what it was. But of course, Savannah being who she is, if there's an abduction, there was a ransom, of course she's going to blame herself. But hindsight is 2020. And not to put blame on a family, we need to look at this as how can we make sure that our family member that is close to Miss Guthrie's age is protected and safe. That's all we can do from this day forward, is to make sure that your family member of that age, that things are set into place where, God forbid, something like this happens. We know that we feel like this was a targeted attack. It wasn't just, oh, randomly, we're going to come and take her. No, they watched this woman. So sad. This is so sad.
We want to thank all of you for the prayers for our beloved mom.
In the initial days, you and your sister and brother sat together. In all the despair, you sat and managed to think of words to say. How were you able to do that in that moment?
Well, my siblings are amazing.
Mm-hmm.
And we are
I remember
a unit.
this picture. This is so sad.
And I talked about how brilliant my brother is, but my sister is equally brilliant and also has special powers of intuition and faith and language and depth and heart. And I feel like we came together with all these beautiful gifts that came from our mom and dad and from God. And somehow together we did our best to come up with the words to say.
Mm-hmm.
And I haven't posted one thing or said one thing that the three of us
Have not
haven't
agreed on.
decided together.
Mm-hmm.
It is surreal. It's, how is it possible that we are having to make a video speaking to a kidnapper
Mm-hmm.
who took an 84-year-old woman
Mm-hmm.
in the dead of night
Mm-hmm.
in her pajamas
Mm-hmm.
with no shoes,
Oh,
without her
wow.
medicine?
Oh,
This little
wow.
person.
Oh, wow. Oh, wow. They took her in her pajamas with no shoe. Wow. Wow. Jesus Christ. People are wicked. People are wicked.
A kidnapper who took an 84-year-old woman in the dead of night in her pajamas with no shoes, without her medicine. This little person. And to beg for mercy.
In the days that followed, multiple notes demanding payment were sent to various media outlets.
The ransom notes or ransom requests came. Did you believe those to be real?
There are a lot of different notes, I think, that came. And I think most of them, it's my understanding, are not real. And I didn't see them. But, you know.
How sad. I just, since she's talking about the ransom note, shout out to Hoda for doing this. Um, how sad, or what's the word I'm looking for? How awful is it for someone of this age to be abducted, and there's a ransom note and no one knows, and then people are like, well, let me send more, let me send a ransom note, let me do this, and it's so sad. Like, so what if one of the ransom notes were actually true, right? And then all of these fake ransom notes start coming, and now you don't even know which one's real, which one's not. And the kidnapper is like, look, I'm not playing with you. This really put this family between a rock and a hard place. This case is going to be on the ID channel. This is so sad. This is,
The person that would send a fake ransom note,
you see? You see?
didn't see them,
You see?
but you know, a person that would send a fake ransom note really has to look deeply at themselves.
Yeah.
You see? You see? Now, this is what I was saying. Someone in the chat said, you're surprised. Yes, I'm surprised because I'm not a criminal. I'm not a criminal. But the fact that diabolical people, you're going to send a fake ransom note. So the people, oh boy, I tell you. Sending a fake ransom note stops the real kidnappers from actually being able to. It stops law enforcement and everyone from actually being able to do something about this, because maybe one of the ransom notes were real, and then the other ones were fake, and now it's like, oh well, what do we do now? It's just criminals. What can you do? Okay, so it says they stated, Judy said they stated that she was very hard of hearing. So I wonder, did she even get to take her hearing aids with her? JCat says she doesn't know she was in pajamas and no shoes. You think she's just saying that, JCat? We don't understand this because we're not bad people, so it's very shocking. That part. We're all baffled. Like, who does this? If you're not a criminal and you're not out here abducting people and snatching old people's purses and doing diabolical things, no, I wouldn't understand that. I would never understand you robbing someone and leaving their doors open. Because that's not how I live my life. I can't speak for anyone else, but that's not how I live my life. So no, I don't understand anything that a criminal does. Have no idea. But when JCat, you said she doesn't know she was in her pajamas and no shoes. Maybe that is something that we don't know. Maybe she has this information from law enforcement. I don't know. Let's get back to this.
To a family in pain.
Let's just play
a person that
again.
would send a fake ransom note really has to look deeply at themselves.
Yeah.
To a family in pain.
Yeah.
But I believe the 2 notes that we received, that we responded to,
were real.
I tend to believe those are real.
Really?
Okay.
When the Ring camera video surfaced and you could see who that person was, just tell me what you thought when you saw those images of the person who took your mother.
I mean, it's just absolutely terrifying.
Yeah.
It's just totally terrifying.
I can't imagine.
And I can't imagine that is who she saw standing over her bed.
Mm.
I can't. It's too much.
Mhm. Mhm.
And I'm glad and grateful to the investigators and the technology companies that were able to find that video.
Mhm.
Do I hope
Because without that video, my true crime addicts, without that video, they would have nothing. Nothing. So I'm just hoping that with that video, and maybe they have a little bit more information that they're not telling us, but without that video, this would have been a perfect crime. And when I say a perfect crime, I know someone said there's no such thing as a perfect crime. When I say a perfect crime is thinking like a criminal, right? The way the criminals think, like, okay, a perfect crime is I got away with this. I did this and no one knows that I did it. And I'm walking amongst them and no one knows anything. That's what I consider a perfect crime, where no one knows that you did it and you are able to move around and live your life and go on about your business like you didn't do anything. I think maybe that, and this is in my opinion, maybe law enforcement will think, okay, that's a perfect crime as well, right? Because you didn't get caught. You didn't get caught. But without that camera footage, we would have nothing. They would have nothing.
investigators and the technology companies that were able to find that video? Do I hope, at least with people of good heart and compassion, stop the irresponsible and cruel speculation that had started to swirl?
Okay, she's about to talk about that.
Responsible.
Okay, all right.
I can't. It's too much.
And JCat, we you know, I get what you're saying. It says not to be mean, but no one knows what she was wearing unless they were there. Um, and unless there is evidence that, because they said that there were pictures that were found. I read an article. There were pictures that were found, I think by MSN, by the pool, and which brought the FBI back in that area, brought them back to the house to look in that area. But we don't know what those pictures were of, and we don't know how it's in connection to what has happened. So I think law enforcement, and the sheriff has confirmed that, and whether that holds weight or not, we don't know. But I do believe that law enforcement is holding things close to the chest, because they probably don't want, if they do have an idea of a suspect or a person of interest, they're not sharing it with us, and they probably are not sharing it with anyone or doing a press release, a news conference, because the person may run, or the persons may run. So it's just a lot of guesstimation. It's a lot of things that we don't know. But what we do know is this woman was violently taken from, this elderly woman was violently taken from her home. So no, we know you're not being mean, JCat. You know, it's just the family may know more than the public. And we see that Savannah is being very strategic as to what she's saying. And then we know that this wasn't live, so they may be cutting off certain, chopping it, editing it, and putting certain things in when she breaks down. I mean, I would have thought she would have broken down way more than this. So I'm happy that she's getting through it, but no one wants to imagine what this family is going through, knowing that your mom was violently taken from her home in the middle of the night, and she's 84, and no one knows what happened to her. We still don't know. 54 days later, we still don't know what has happened in the Nancy Guthrie abduction. That is a lot to swallow. And she has to be in front of this camera. People have to go back to work. Tommaso, I told y'all, went back to work. He's not himself. He's not himself, right? He's going through the motions, but how can you go back to your life when you know that your family member is out there missing and you have no idea what has happened to them. That's a lot. That's a lot. That's a hard pill to swallow.
Yeah.
And I'm glad and grateful to the investigators and the technology companies that were able to find that video. Do I hope, at least with people of good heart and compassion, stop the irresponsible and cruel speculation that had started to swirl.
Let's talk about that for a minute.
I'm glad that people saw.
Yeah.
Okay, so
It's too much.
Yeah.
now she's about to talk about it.
And I'm glad and grateful to the investigators and the technology companies that were able to find that video. Do I hope, at least with people of good heart and compassion, stop the irresponsible and cruel speculation that had started to swirl.
Because without that video, greetings, Jenny, and welcome, welcome, welcome. Without that video, people would have the video is there and people are still saying it's the family, it's Tommaso, it's this, it's that. Without that video, it would have been all hell would have broken loose and everyone would have said it's the family. People are still saying it's the family with that video, right? But without that video, they wouldn't have known anything.
Let's talk about that for a minute.
I'm glad that people saw
Yeah.
what came to our door.
When you talk about the cruel speculation, the whispers, the innuendo that it was somebody in your family, how did you weather that?
It's unbearable. And it piles pain upon pain.
I can't imagine. I can't imagine.
There are no words. There are no words.
Your mother's missing.
I don't understand. I'll never understand.
You will never understand people. We will never understand people. Some people are just wicked to the core. To have all this pain of your mom being abducted, not knowing what happened, and then the world is blaming you. Things like that, you know, like I keep saying, we teach the children, don't bully, but we have so many adults online that bully. It's like, God, I would never want to meet their damn children, you know? And it's like, this type of behavior is what drives people to unaliving themselves. And the fact that adults don't see that is absolutely astounding to me. It's mind-boggling. It's okay to be a bully if you're behind the keyboard. That's no. But I'm grateful that none of these people did anything to themselves because of the bullying. Because this is a nation, no, this is a worldwide case. And people saying that they did this and they didn't do it, if they, you know, people are saying that they did this, and if they did not do that, the depression can drive you to unaliving yourself from bullying.
And no one took better care of my mom than my sister and brother-in-law. And no one protected my mom more than my brother. And we love her, and she is our shining light. She's our matriarch. She's all we have.
Savannah and her family stayed together in Arizona for weeks as the media coverage grew more intense.
We had to move houses many times because people came and
Wow. Okay. All right. Let me get myself together, guys. Let me get myself together. Y'all know I'm an empath, so people start crying, I start crying. Mm, mm, mm. So she's saying that nobody took care of your mom better than her brother, her sister, her sister, and her brother-in-law, right? No one protected her more than her brother. They loved her. She was the matriarch of the family. She worked and put them through school after the husband passed away. Even with money financially, is we can't imagine how hard it is to raise 3 children on your own, right? 3 small children on your own. I don't know what age they were, even if they were just underage, right? Teenagers. It's still hard. I can imagine. I don't have any children. Thank you, Jesus. Hallelujah. But I can't imagine how hard it was for any single parent to raise children, whether you have the finances or not. Um, but to know that they took care of her and protected her, and when the time came, it still wasn't enough. This is why I keep saying, make sure the family members in your home, in your family, are taken care of. The elders in your family, make sure they have Alexa, make sure it's set up properly. Make sure, just no one thinks that anything like this can happen to them until it happens. How many times you look at a true crime story and you're like, oh, well, this doesn't happen in our family. This just happens in other people's family and on TV. No, it can happen to anyone. Unfortunately, we assume that it's because that it was targeted, and it was because Nancy was older, and maybe it was for money, and because Savannah is a celebrity. That's what we're guessing. But until there's an arrest and everything, we really won't know. I just cannot begin to feel what they are going through. It's so sad, and they are all in my prayers. Thank you, Jenny. I know that they will accept your prayers, and they thank you for the well wishes. They have been very appreciative of the love that we have shown them, even though we don't know. I've never met Nancy. I never watched Savannah. I've never seen Savannah a day in my life, consciously, right? But I think all of us have a mother and a grandmother, whether they're alive or not, and we all can relate to what has happened. And no one wants this. No one wants someone to be an elder to be abducted from their home. No one wants this. Let me see. Rare bean and rice. Am I reading that properly? Yes. A lady I knew was abducted and unalived. Her paralyzed husband was the first one looked at and blamed, and it ended up being some serial killer, not her husband. I was just watching something recently, cold case, and same thing. It took them 20 some odd years, and they thought that the husband did it. The husband went on to marry someone else, but he was always at the graveyard, right? His wife, they broke up because he couldn't. They're like, well, she's like, well, he doesn't love me. He's loving a ghost. He's chasing a ghost. And when things like this happen, family, the people closest to you, family and the spouse, are the only people. Thankfully, they were following this person. They just couldn't prove it because it happened so long ago and DNA wasn't prevalent then. So once technology had evolved, what happened? The guy wouldn't give his DNA, so him and his friend, they started surveilling him. Him and his friend went to Chipotle or Chuck E. Cheese, one of them, something. They went to go eat, and he left his straw, and they were able to get the DNA, and it linked back to him. It took 30 years, and guess what? At least the ex-husband was able to see this. At least the ex-husband was able to see justice be brought, but it wasn't actually justice. When it happened so long ago, they have to abide by the sentencing laws at that time, right? So now it's 20 plus years. It was 27 years by the time he was convicted, I think it was almost 30 years. The man got 10 years, and they didn't even take it to trial. He was able to plead guilty to voluntary manslaughter. He wasn't the wife. I mean, he wasn't the husband. They think now he had to say he did it, but he didn't have to say why. He had to allocute. That was part of the agreement, right? But he did not have to say why he did it. And he only got 10 years. 10 years. At that time, they say he had to do 5. He was let out early, a year and a half. He did 3.5 years for brutally unaliving a young woman. Sometimes I wish the equalizer was real. I really do, because just because someone gets arrested and they're tried, if there's not enough evidence, then the prosecution is going to come to the defense attorney, and they're going to come with, if they don't have a strong case, they're going to come with a plea agreement. And most of the time, the plea agreement is more beneficial to the defendant than it is to the victim. So people always say, well, they're going to get their justice, they're going to get their what's the word I'm looking for? They're going to have to what's the word I'm looking for? The victim will get their justice once the person passes away. But we don't actually know. We have no proof. We know there's heaven, there's hell, of what we're told. But for the people that don't believe in that, it's like some of us want our justice now. But the husband, the ex-husband, well, the widowed husband, because he wasn't an ex, the widowed husband, he passed away of cancer. And the family, the mother, the sister, the brother, the widowed husband's sister are like, we didn't get any justice for this woman. We didn't get any, and these weren't African Americans. Sometimes white people are saying we're not getting any justice. Sometimes people do not get justice when things like this happen. Jennifer Hodge, welcome, says my best friend was kidnapped when her and I were 12. The kidnapper was a friend of her family. He unalived my best friend, and I have PTSD every day. I'm so sorry. The more I see and share true crime stories in the public, the more I find out these horrible, horrible stories. I found out recently that one of my best friends in high school, that her mother was STAB, past tense, so many times. Someone tried to unalive her. Now, I didn't know that growing up. I didn't know, wow, is that why she never wears long sleeves and shorts? And you just never know what someone has been through. And people are horrible. Some people, I thank God for the good people in this world. And I want to believe that there are more good people than bad. But there are so many bad things that are happening that's overshadowing the good. And you have to keep your head on a swivel. You would think that, my friend is a friend of the family. They're not like that. And some people will argue someone down. They wouldn't do that. And then it's like, oh my God, they did this. That's how it was with my robbery. Oh, no, they wouldn't. These people are Muslims. And it's just, it's sad because one of my closest friends said, so who do you trust? You hear the silence? That's what I gave him. Because I'm like, you don't know who to trust nowadays.
Everyone
grew more intense.
We had to move houses many times because people came, and not everyone is respectful, unfortunately.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
There was a night we had to leave in the dark in the desert.
Wow.
Holding hands, me and my sister and brother and I. get into a car waiting for us.
Wow.
Because the people outside were closing in. So
Wow. Now, you all see that one of the reasons why people were like, "Oh, go to Annie Tomaso, go to Annie and Tomaso." I did not. I could have looked it up and found the address. At some point, there has to be some type of respect for the people, even if you're like, "Well, we don't know. We think they did it." I don't know. I'm happy that I respectfully stayed away, right? Because did we know that they had to hold their hands? They had to leave the house in the dark because people. It's unfortunate, but this is the society that we live in now. This is where we live. It's like, I'm gonna be all up in your business. I'm gonna post your address. I'm gonna do this. And the only way you will get justice is if you sue these people in civil court. Because stalking is not a high priority crime.
we found a place that was safe, and then we couldn't really leave too much. So like those days are a blur.
Yeah.
Crying and praying.
It's
How
stuck
did
in the
your
house.
family feel about the
Wow.
way the investigation was conducted?
Well, it's still going.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
people have worked tirelessly
Wait, she said
too
something about the
much.
investigation.
So
That's sad.
we found a place that was safe,
Mhm.
and then we couldn't really leave too much. So like those days are a blur.
Yeah.
Crying and praying.
How did your family feel about the way the investigation was conducted?
Well, it's still going.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
people have worked tirelessly.
They're not going to trash them.
And we see that.
Mm-hmm.
But we need answers.
Mm-hmm.
We cannot be at peace without knowing. And someone can do the right thing.
Yep.
And it is never too late to do the right thing. And our hearts are focused on that.
Um,
You know, I think when it comes to the elderly, the children, and, animals or whatever, mostly I'm talking about humans, the elderly and the children, whether you know someone or not, it pulls at your heartstrings, right? We do want that one person that knows something to say something. But we also know that so many people will keep things hidden. Someone said, I posted something on my community page, and someone made a comment and was like, for some people, that's what they call loyalty. I'm not going to say nothing. I'm going to keep your secret. I know you kidnapped this woman. I know you abducted her. We know whatever happened, but I'm not going to say anything. And it's just unfortunate because I don't understand how someone can live with that type of story, with that type of information. I don't know how someone could live through keeping that information a secret. I don't understand. Right? Unless you're a drug addict where the drugs are just controlling your brain, or you're a straight up alkie, and it's just, I don't understand how someone can keep this type of information or any type of information for a major crime a secret. If they're in fear, even if they're in fear for their life, let's just say, for example, I knew something. And I'm like, oh man, I know these shady people, these sketchy people. I'm around these sketchy people. And, even somebody that doesn't know, right? That wasn't involved, but they know something. Like, oh, well, the girlfriend, like if it's a girlfriend of someone that was involved, and he's like, well, so and so did this and blah blah blah, and she's sitting there like, oh my God, what do I say? I don't want to lose my man, right? I love him, boy, I love myself, but I'm not gonna. What do you do? If it was me, look, FBI, I need y'all. Well, I need a new. I'm scared. I need a new identity. But I'll tell you. But I don't know who else knows this, right? I don't understand how people can sleep at night knowing what has happened. rare beans, rare bean and rice said, I talk too much, I'd slip. Me too. That's why I don't need to do any crime. I'll tell on my damn self, like, oh my God, I done said this, But how do you keep this a secret knowing what has happened? How do these people sleep at night? But then you go back to the criminal mind. And if you're not a criminal, this is probably why the police, the FBI, and, certain people, the Navy SEALs, this is probably why they drink, and they're trying to get rid of what has happened, what they've seen, what they've heard. Because most of us that live the straight and narrow, that criminal mind is something totally different. I don't know if y'all ever watched that show Criminal Minds, but these people are absolutely sociopaths. They are gone. And once you unalive someone, this is from a show, but they said you're basically in this world by yourself now, because you can't tell anyone. They could tell, you can go to jail. These people are like, I don't want to go to prison. I did this. I don't want to go to prison. So now you're in this world by yourself and always looking over your shoulder like, does this person know? Does that person know? But I truly don't understand how people sleep at night knowing what has happened, knowing something in regards to this abduction of this 84-year-old woman. But when we see things up close like this, I've never been this close to a case where I can go to the house. I've never, been this vested. I've seen things when I was younger and stuff like that, but an immature mind, I wasn't mature enough to really understand. But now I'm just like, wow. And then going through what I've been through, so I have my own PTSD, right, as to what has happened to me. It's just, I don't understand the human mind and how wicked people's hearts are to do things like this and then sleep at night. But they say when someone unalives someone, that's the best sleep they ever have. Yeah, because you exerted yourself. But how can you sleep? I feel like this is what I wish, and then I'm going to move on. I wish that when someone is unalived in a violent manner, if you take someone's life, the laws of nature should be that person's spirit can haunt you until you say what has happened. Whatever happens, they should be able to haunt your ass until justice is served. That's how I feel. But that's in a perfect world. I'm sure she is scared to death, especially when it comes to her children. All I do is cry during these. I can't help it. Me either. I'm a crybaby. But it is truly heartbreaking. As a kid, my dad will wrap my mom's presents with me. Then she'd give me like $5 to tell her I'm better now, but do talk way too much. That's funny. Okay, so as a kid, my dad would wrap my mom's presents with me, and then she'd give me $5 to tell. So she's blackmailing, bribing you, like, here you go. You gonna tell me? That's funny. This is why I couldn't. The FBI, when I contact them in regards to the financial crime that I was a victim of, right? And nobody else, they're like, we're not contacting the FBI, because there are a lot of criminals in this world that are walking around here with their head high and great jobs, but they're scared that someone, if I contact the FBI, they're gonna be all up in my business. Ugh. I don't live my life like that. Thank you, Jesus. I don't live my life like that. But the FBI, they were like, we're hiring. I'm sitting there like, man, I'll be on my Patreon like, y'all, guess what I done heard? They be like, girl, you are fired. You are fired. If I say something wrong, I can't sleep. Can't imagine if I unalive someone, or even knowing that someone unalived someone. I wouldn't be able to keep that. Looking at these videos and knowing this, I would have to say something. But I would say to the person that knows this, they're probably not watching my channel, but to the person that knows this, or that knows something, I would personally say, then ask the FBI to put you in witness protection. Change your name, give me a new identity, right? Because I don't know, depending on who did it and how powerful they are. And how powerful they are. Yeah, I know something, but I need a new identity, right? You can get the money. You can get the money if it leads to an arrest and or whatever. But if I knew something and it was this intricate and this involved, and knowing who did it in the criminal network, I would ask for a new identity. That's what I would do. Start a whole new life.
I think where Savannah ended that, it's not too late to do the right thing, is really, I think, the intent from the beginning.
Yeah.
I think she was a fantasy was that someone sees it, someone who saw someone who knows someone who will say something, because, I think this is all about bringing Nancy
Well, it's still an
home.
open case. We're 54 days in. The bravery that she's showing in this interview is not to shine a light on herself, but to remind people that if you have anything.
Who is this guy, y'all? What's this guy's name? He looked like he's gained weight, but what's his name?
To do with this, if you know anything,
Yes.
we firmly believe that somebody does know something. It's not too late.
Yes.
We can still bring Nancy home if you call the number.
And one of the things Savannah actually said to me was, she said, please remind everybody that there are lots of people who are missing. And that's why her family has donated to the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children. And she wanted me to underscore that, because she wanted to be clear, like, this is also about a lot of people who are missing. But you guys know how strong Savannah is. I have never, I knew she was strong, but I didn't know how much until yesterday. Yeah, when I sat with her.
Just of the takeaways there, the fact that our dear friend would blame herself.
Oh, that was the hardest.
That was the hardest part.
Would blame herself for any of this when it was some sicko or sickos out there kidnap a woman in the middle of the night. But the only SG could sit there and do that.
Because of the faith that she has, the faith that Nancy instilled in her.
And I think we're going to talk about that, Al. In fact, in the next hour, we're going to talk a little bit more about Nancy and the faith that kind of brought her to this point. So, our love and prayers to Savannah.
Again, we want to mention the phone number to call. If you have any information about this case, that phone number is right there on your screen. 1-800-CALL-FBI.
Hey, thanks for watching. And don't forget, you can catch the Today Show every.
Okay, so let's go to part 2.
Can you speak?
So let me just get myself together, you all. Let me just get myself together before I go to part 2. Carson Dale, it is him. Okay, I remember Carson. Thank you, guys, because I'm like, wait, his face looks familiar. Wow, Carson Daly went from MTV to the Today Show, the Come Up. Okay, all right. Wow, TRL guy, right? Yes, that is him. Okay, I knew his face, I knew the voice, but I'm like, I can't remember his name. Again, so like I said, if I knew something, I would call the FBI. And I'm not a religious person anymore. Total Request Live, I remember that. We are not old. We are not old. We are seasoned. We are mature, right? I talked to someone yesterday and they said that they're 53 and they were like, this is not, but I feel like I felt when I was in my 20s. But when I was doing Instacart, I met this woman that was like 70 some odd years old. And she said her mother was 90 something when she passed away. And she said her mother looked in the mirror and said, who is this old woman? Right? I'm trying to, I'm struggling with getting older because I'm like, this is the first time I've been 46, right? So I'm like, I don't understand how I still feel like I'm young. This is new to me. And thinking I can do the things that I used to do, and my body is like, girl, your mind might be still in your 20s, but your body is 2 decades older. And I'm like, well, what the hell? What the hell? But I wish that, like I said, I'm not a religious person, right? Anymore. Going to church sometimes is stressful, unfortunately. Whether it's a white church or a black church, sometimes it's stressful because church is a business as well, right? But I feel like I need to lean on God more to have that strength that Savannah and her family is having, because this is their cross to bear, right? Unfortunately, this is something that they have to go through. But I know at the sound of my voice, anyone that's hearing my voice, we all have something that we're going through. We all have some type of trial or tribulation that may be kicking our behinds, right? All of us. So I just wish that I had, and that's what I'm going to pray for, more strength, right? Because I know I have PTSD for what I've been through. And people don't understand, when you go through something traumatic, your brain is trying to understand and to get the understanding of what has happened, especially if it's something that you've never been through or something that is like what they're going through, right? And there are different levels to what people are going through. What I'm dealing with these criminals in the Gambia, some of the older people are like, you should just let this go. I couldn't go through that. Well, maybe that's why God didn't give you this, right? You sat right in this country and you didn't say anything. You didn't say anything. So maybe that's why God didn't give you this cross to bear. He didn't give you this job to do. He gave it to me, because I'm not going to keep my mouth shut when I see injustices of any sort. I just pick and choose my battles as to what I want to talk about, right? But I pray for the strength that Savannah and her family are displaying. And I pray for anyone that's going through a storm. I pray for strength for you. Or if you have went through a storm, like Jennifer, some of us have PTSD. I pray for each and every one of us that are going through something or have gone through something, that God will give us strength, or the universe, or whatever your higher being is, will give us strength to get through this and to heal our minds. Because PTSD is nothing to play with. And I never thought, like, I know that I had PTSD, but I was able to deal with some things, right? It's like, oh, you never get over it. You learn how to live with it, right? But and I thought I was healed. And then I went to the Gambia and dealt with these raggedy pieces of SHIT. And I'm just like, oh, wait, I'm not healed, because there were triggers. So I hope and pray that Savannah's family are in therapy, even the children, because a lot of times we forget about the young people. A lot of times we forget about the young people and what they're going through, and we're just like, oh, they'll be okay. No, the whole family, from the oldest to the youngest, needs therapy, because they knew Nancy. That was their family member. And the fact that they don't have any closure. So we saw that Savannah did not trash the and they didn't trash the law enforcement, right? There are things that are out there where people are unhappy with the sheriff's investigation, the sheriff department, Pima County Sheriff's Department investigation. But thankfully, she didn't trash them. And I didn't think that she would, right? First of all, she's on TV. She's a lady. She's been trained to say certain things and not say certain things on camera. However, like she said, the investigation is ongoing. So if you still want people to do things for you and do the job, then sometimes we just have to bite our tongue, grin and bear it until we get what we need, and then we can talk about what we need to talk about. And that's one of the things I'm learning about the Gambia, because people get very sensitive when you call them on their BS, right? So, I'm learning. Carson Daly. Yeah, he's probably a dad and everything. He kind of reminds me of Jimmy Kimmel. Okay, so let's look at part 2.
About your mom always in the present tense.
Yeah. I mean, she is present tense to me.
Mm-hmm. Do you feel her, or have you heard her any moments?
Yeah, a little bit.
Tell me about your mommy. Just tell me about her.
Wow.
My mom she's incredible. She's resolute and strong. Quiet strength, quiet faith.
Y'all know she has a law degree, right? Did you all know that Savannah has a law degree? She went right to the U of A.
But hard fought. She's funny and a little mischievous, I would say, in her humor. She's a noble creature. She does what's right. She walks in faith, but not a fake, pious, put on faith, but like a grounded, earthy, she fought for it faith.
Now I'm gonna stop it there real quick, because I want to say this. Greetings, love like the sun. I'm here live early, right? But I could not hold this. I wanted to see this, and I know. Thank you to everyone who will watch this live and to those who will watch the replay. But I once I saw this video, I was like, oh no, this interview. I was like, I have to do this now. It is what's so heartbreaking, in addition to everything else, is when I see horrible things like this, and then horrible things like this, or horrible crimes that happen to people that have strong faith and religious. I'm just like, well, what in the hell? I mean, and some people I've seen in true crime where, I mean, they had a horrible, they died a horrible death. Like, and it's like, but they were trying to, I don't want to say pious, right? Because I don't really like to say that, because I feel like that's like an oxymoron. Like, I'm so pious. We're all sinful, no matter how pious we try to be, or no one is holy as long as you're on this planet and you're in this flesh, right? Yes, she does have a law degree. So I just always find it odd when someone that has strong faith and they go through this, not that because you believe in God and you're a believer and you have faith and you try to do things right, that things like this don't happen to good people. I feel like a lot of stuff happen to good people, you know, and the demonic ones are still going on about their business because the universe is trying to give them time to straighten up. That's my way of thinking about certain things. But I just feel so conflicted when I see things like this happen to people that are trying to do right, that are believers, that have strong faith. I just had to say that. I just always feel conflicted with that.
When you posted Please Pray in the beginning, the ocean of love and prayers, did you feel that? Did you sense what was happening?
Yeah.
I do feel prayers, you know, I do. I believe that. I think she would have been just amazed, just truly amazed.
One of the images that stayed with me through all of this was you and Annie and Tommaso walking up and
shout out to
looking at the
Brian
flowers and at the notes. As I saw that, I thought, oh, I wonder if Savannah's going inside, and what that must have felt like for you to go inside of your mom's, your childhood home, your mom's house.
Okay, so let me just say this. It's crazy that she brought this up. I guess I could be an interviewer. I just don't have all of the credentials behind that. So one of the things I wanted to say when they were showing the pictures and of Nancy in her home, one of the things I wanted to say is, I wonder what will happen to the home now, right? Without closure, even though that's a childhood home, all of the happy moments and memories that they have, or that they have, I'm not going to say had, that they have, that has happened in that home, is now overshadowed with something diabolical that has happened in that home, and they don't even have an answer. They don't have a resolution. So I wanted to say that before they go into her and them going into the home, because how do you function? How do you function after this? How do you get in front of the camera and talk about happy, happy, joy, joy stuff and get back to making the donuts, right? When I say making the donuts, the people that are older know what I'm talking about, right? Y'all remember the commercial? I make the donuts. So how do you go back to normal, knowing that your mom was abducted from her home in the middle of the night, and no one knows where she is? No one knows if she's alive. No one knows anything. How do you go back to the status quo? How do you go back to the house? How do you go in the house? Does that taint your memories, your good memories of your sister and your brother, your siblings and your mom and your dad growing up in this house and growing up into, does it taint those memories now because of what has happened to your mom in your home, in your childhood home, and y'all still don't have closure?
Yeah, I mean, this is the house that we grew up in. It's really the only house I've ever known and remember. So we moved there when I was about 4, I think.
Wow.
It's the house where
we never saw
I came home on a Friday night at 6.
We never
your childhood home, your
those
mom's
videos,
house.
guys.
Yeah, I mean,
I've never seen
this
those.
is the house that we grew up in. It's really the only house I've ever known and remember. So we moved there when, yeah, I mean,
Look at Nancy when she was
this is the
younger.
house
Nancy
that we
was
grew up in.
fine. Look at this. Look at
It's
Nancy.
really the only house.
Look at Nancy. Is that Annie? Who do you all think that is? This child. Is that Annie or Savannah? Who do you think that is? Who's older? Savannah's the oldest, right?
I've ever known and remember. So we moved there when I was about 4, I think. It's the house where I came home on a Friday night at 16, and my mom and sister were on the couch praying. and told me that my father had died.
Oh,
It's the house where
okay.
all of our memories
Okay. So
I've
I
ever
was
known and
saying,
remember.
you remember I was saying, I don't know when the dad passed away, at what age, and she just said that she was 16. So I'm assuming, if you all know, who's older, is it Annie or is it Savannah? I'm assuming it's Annie, but I'm not sure. I'm not sure. Okay, so let me see. So my neighborhood went through Hurricane Helene. Most houses were deemed unlivable. We had 25 feet of water from basement up. It brought our neighborhood closer together, which I feel was God's plan. Thank you for sharing that. That's where I thought Savannah was going when she was saying, um, when she was talking about the siblings, and then she put her hands together, you know, where they, they all stayed together, and she put her hands together. That's where I thought Savannah was going with that thought, that unfortunately that these things happen, but it brought them closer together. And I don't doubt that it did. We know that, like with 9/11 and with all of these life altering events that we have encountered in this day and age, right? Because I can't say generation, because we're all different. We are all of different ages, but in this day and age, we have encountered so many things. We were talking about how many wars people lived through and what we have seen and things like that. We know that anytime these life-changing events happen, or life-altering events happen, we know that it brings the communities closer together, right? And I will hope, I know that this has brought them, the siblings, closer together. They probably definitely check on each other way more than they did before, but it has also brought the community together. So even though people may have not been at we saw how many people came to the house. People were traveling. People were traveling and they came to the house. How many times was I at the house and someone pulled up, like the woman that came from Washington State, and she heard me talking to Nancy and just showing love, and what did she say? Can I pray with you? Yes, you can. I will never say no if you want to pray with me. This woman didn't look like me. She locked her arm into mine and prayed. When things like this happen, it tends to bring the community together. I wish that the communities can come together before things like this happen, but I guess we're just going through so many things. All we can do is pray and lean on each other. And I feel like in this day and age, even with politics being dividing families and dividing the community and dividing the country, now either everybody's a blood or a crip, and I'm like, well, when I say blood or crip, is the red or the blue. You understand what I'm saying, guys? So I'm just, because that's what it feels like. You either a blood or crip. What set you repping? Oh, you ain't one of us. I'm like, well, what the hell is happening to America? But this is happening in the Gambia. This is happening in many countries. So I feel like when I say this, I'm talking about society, period, not just American society, just the world. This is happening all over the world. But the division, okay, I'm not going to go there. I was just saying how things should be bringing us together. With everything that's happening with politics now, people are being divided. We saw somebody in Florida, the guy unalived his daughter. He unalived his daughter. His daughter was here from the UK or somewhere, and she started talking about a politician, and he unalived her. And I'm like, what in the hell? Is it that serious? Is it that serious? But I feel like instead of dividing, with the world and society being the way it is, I feel like we should be coming together. And when Rare Bean and Rice said, which I feel was God's plan, that's how I feel with what is happening in society now. That's how I feel. I feel like we want the government to do this and do that and do this and do that. But when has the government really made everyone happy at one time, is what I should say. No, because if you do for this, then the other person is always going to be, what do they call it? An opportunity cost. You chose this opportunity, so this one is, you chose this one over that one, which may make the other person that feel like they lost upset. But I feel like with what is happening in society, instead of us being divided, we should look out for our neighbor. Look out for our brother and our sister, even if they don't look like you. That's the real courage. People are so gangster, but that's the real courage. Do you have courage to stand up for somebody that does not look like you? Do you have courage to be kind? And unfortunately, some of us don't have that type of courage. Just looked it up. Brother is the oldest child, then Annie, and Savannah is the youngest. Thank you so much, Purple Love. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Okay. Society is polarized. Okay.
We moved there when I was about 4, I think. Mm-hmm. It's the house where I came home on a Friday night at 16, and my mom and sister were on the couch praying.
Oh, wait, I
and
missed
told
the
me
question.
that my father had died.
Okay, hold on. I missed the question because I was wondering. Okay, Judy. Okay, all right. You all did tell me who is older. Annie is the oldest. Okay. I couldn't imagine it was hard enough to go into our family home when my parents had passed. I just, okay, so it's Annie, and then it's Charles, and Savannah is the youngest. Being this was a family, I think it would explain a possible false sense of security. Greetings, MK. And with her being a baby, right? She's not young. We're all grown. Being this was a family home, I think it would explain a possible false sense of security. Okay. Her being the youngest, but she's the wealthiest. I think she's wealthier than her brother, right? Yes, he had a great career, but I think, she's on TV. She makes more money. That's just my opinion. I don't know. But, I caught it. My mic is trying to die on me, y'all. Let me go get the other one. Being that she is the youngest, that has to be very hard on her to think that this was her fault, that this happened because she is who she is. So I truly hope that the family is consoling her and reassuring her that, no, Savannah, this is not your fault. I just switched mics, guys. I looked at it and I saw it was blinking. So I'm happy I caught it. That, no, this wasn't your fault. This is the criminal's fault that took advantage of our family. And who are you to not follow your dreams? Mom would have wanted you and wanted you to follow your dreams. Mom was happy. How many times the mother we saw last week, a couple Fridays ago, that the mother got up at 6 a.m. in the morning, 3 a.m. to do a segment on the Today Show of her making her bed, right? 6 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, if it was either 2 hours or 3 hours, but Savannah said, thanks, Mom. You were up at 3 o'clock in the morning to show us how to make our bed. You know? So all we can do is pray for the mental health of the families, but pray for the mental health of all of the family members and friends and communities of all the missing people. I'm happy. I'm gonna play this, guys. Give me 1 second. I'm just happy that Savannah did express and tell Hoda, I said Rhoda, that to make sure that she tell the people that she tells okay, so let me I'm sorry, I just read an email. I'm happy that Savannah expressed and kept telling and told Hoda that to make sure that she tells the public, you know, that it's not just about her mother being missing, and that they donated to I don't know what it's called, but the National Missing Person, probably nonprofit, right? Because I know that people have said, come on people's channel, oh, it's only because she's rich and this, that, and the third. And it's like, I don't know what to do with that. When people say that, I don't know what to do with that. It's like when people say, oh, you know, Black Lives Matter. Well, all lives matter. You know, well, hey, this is an orange. Well, what about the apples? You know what I mean? It's just like, well, what in the hell? What does that have to do with anything right now, right? What does that have to do with the price of tea right now? Because no matter who it is that's missing, whether it's Savannah's mom, whether it's, you know, Johnny down the street, whether it's little Maria, it's still a missing person. But we do know that certain things get more attention than others. It's a child. It could have been, I feel like it could have been anybody's grandmother. If anybody's grandmother was abducted the way Nancy Guthrie was abducted, it would be national news. We know that regular stories become national news, worldwide news as well. So I'm happy that she did ask Hoda to express that specifically, you know, because it's about everyone. Okay, so I think someone answered, when calling the hospital, Savannah mentions they were busy talking to her. Who's the her? Okay. And someone said, when she said, let me see, they were busy talking to her. She was talking about the family. Because she said that the family said that they called the hospital, they were talking to the police, it was just, she said it was chaos that was there. But she was saying that the family said that they called and the police were already called. The family said that they called the police and they called the hospitals and this, that, and the third, but she said that she called as well. Deb M says, people feel omnipotent. Omnipotent? I think that's how you pronounce it. In the wake of tragedy, and that they blame themselves and not assign blame where it should be directed. Maybe it's because it's too hard to think about. Okay, so I just want to make sure that I knew exactly what that word meant. And means possessing all powerful, unlimited, or infinite authority, often describing a deity. But people feel powerful in the wake of tragedy and that they blame themselves. So I think it's human nature to blame yourself. I think it's human nature to blame yourself. And then the fact that there was a ransom and all of this, I feel that it is normal for Savannah to blame herself. And then she's this big celebrity, she's on TV. But in the end, you know, we just don't know what happened. We assume. She said that she assumes, she feels that the two ransom notes that came to them were real. But the fact that there were so many others, like, oh, let me throw my 2 cents in there. Let me throw my ransom note in there. They should arrest every last person that put in a ransom note, and it wasn't real. We know that they did arrest someone. National Center for Missing and Exploited Children. Greetings, Unforgivable Sins. Thank you so much. Okay. All right.
It's home on a Friday night at 16, and my mom and sister were on the couch praying and told me that my father had died. It's the house where all of our memories are, good and bad. So it's hallowed ground. My mom loved and treasured that house. In good years and lean years, they were able to hold on to that house. That's my mom's safe haven. It's really hard to see that violated, and the terror that she must have felt.
So now it's bittersweet, right? The house that the mom loves so much. You know, they had the good, the bad, and now it's bittersweet. Man, life is so hard at times, guys. I'm sorry. I hope you feel better, Unforgivable Sins. We hope we send you light, love, and healing. I'm so sorry about the migraine. I used to have them when I was younger. That's like the worst thing in the world.
It's unbearable. It's unbearable.
Tell me, while you were spending all this time in Tucson, your kids were home. What do they know?
Well, it's so hard with kids because, you know, you want to protect them. Dale would write me all the time, Mama, any leads? Do you hear anything? You know, any hope?
See?
And I think that, you know, we tried to talk to them and try to give them a little more certainty than we have, to let them grieve. And for my little nephew Olmo too, you know, there's just a way in which this is even so much harder on Annie and Tommy and Olmo because they're there.
They're there, yeah.
And they were there every day for my mom.
Oh, look at the match of pajamas.
They made it possible for her to stay in the house we grew up in that she loved so much. I think she always stayed in that house because I think she still felt my father there. All our memories.
She said what? Her father there?
Stayed in that house because I think she
still
felt my father there. All our memories.
Man.
You know,
wow.
Let her have her space. And it's just a way in which this is just.
How many of us felt that deep sigh? Okay, so we were talking about before that Nancy probably did not want to leave that house, and we knew. But thanks, Savannah, for confirming that. You know, and a lot of you all that are my elders in the chat have said that you still want your independence. You don't want to be dependent on your children, the grandchildren. You still want, yes, you may be moving a little bit slower, you know, but you still want your independence. And I don't doubt that that's how it was with Nancy, because I live in this community and I know that a lot of when I go to the gym, like I told you, I'm going to the gym with a lot of the elders. and they like their independence. Who wouldn't, right? Who wouldn't? I know as I get older, I know, ouch, I like my independence. And even when I'm 80, I'm still going to want my independence. This is why I'm so neurotic with taking care of myself, because I see these older people and I'm like, wait, y'all 80 something and you in this gym moving like this, and you may not be lifting 15-pound weights, but you got 5s and 6. Well, let me keep doing what I'm supposed to be doing, right? So, because I want to be like y'all when I get older. But we know that Nancy, 9 times out of 10, no matter who Savannah is in this world, she did not want to leave her home. Why would she? And like she said, she still felt my father there. And I've never been married, so I really don't understand that whole, and have children, so you just have this connection with the person. And I'm not, I don't want sympathy for that. I'm kind of happy that that hasn't happened. I'm different though, but Savannah just confirmed that, Nancy was not leaving her home. She loved that home. You've been in it for 30 some odd years. Of course, you love that home more than 30 some odd years. I think they were there in the 70s, and I'm 46 and I was born in 79. So over 40 years, right? Over 4 decades, she's been in that home. And I say the only thing that is my concern then and moving forward for people that now, like being proactive, right? Not reactive, or being reactive being reactive and proactive, which is making sure that the elder in your community or the elder in your family has certain things. So God forbid it doesn't have to be an abduction. It could be someone breaking into their home because they see, ooh, well, her daughter's a doctor, and then her son is a fighter pilot, and then the other one, is a lawyer, right? I'm just saying different careers that really make money. And you never know who's watching you, who's watching your family member. You just never know in this world. And then as times get harder financially, people do even more wicked things. So, yeah. It's just unfortunate that they may have forgotten about certain things, and we just hope that that didn't cost Nancy her life. Not blaming anyone, life happens. How many times do you say, I should have did this, I should have did that, I forgot, right? Life happens. And a lot of times we don't really know until something happens and it's like, oh man, I forgot to do this. Oh man, I should have did that. So I guarantee you the Guthrie family does not want to be the template for this. Just like I don't want to be the person that's spearheading exposing the criminals that scammed us in Africa. But unfortunately, we don't have control over the crosses that are given to us. We don't have control over it. The cards that were dealt, the lemons that were given, any euphemism, we don't have control over it. We just have to go in our cave, have our pity party, don't set up shop, come back out, and continue to fight. That's life. It's just that sometimes some storms or some jobs that we're given are harder than others. You know?
It's even more excruciating for them and all that they've been through.
I know it was a hard decision for you, and I know you told me about this, was coming back here, leaving Arizona to come back to New York. Why was that so difficult, that choice?
I looked out the window of the airplane and just thought, where are you?
Yeah.
Oh man. Oh man.
That desert, that beautiful desert that she loves.
Yep.
Where are you?
Yep.
How could I leave you?
That's the gift and the curse.
But my mom taught me a lot about grief. Our family knows grief. My father passed when I was 16 years old. He was only 49. It was a shock.
Oh, whoa. Whoa. Oh, wow. I didn't know he was so young. How did he die? God, okay, they said that that's rude to ask that. Love like the sun. I hope you have a beautiful day. It says plant trees if you can, especially since they just cut mine down. So yes, please plant trees if you can. Happy spring. I didn't, oh man. So, wow. Okay. Wow. Wow.
That choice.
Man.
I looked
Okay.
out the window of the airplane and just thought, where are you?
Yeah.
That's so unfortunate. Thank you for sharing that, Deb.
That desert, that beautiful desert that she loves.
The
Where
vast
are you?
land. The vast land.
How
We
could I
don't know
leave
where to
you?
look. We don't know where to look.
But my
And
mom
real
taught me.
talk, and real talk, we don't know where to look. And real talk, I was talking to Behind Green Eyes, and I'm like, yo, I don't want to come up on any unalive body, a dead body. I don't want that in my life at all, right? Because I may have a heart attack and then I'm laying beside the person like, oh, well, thank you for finding me. Well, now I'm here with you because, I don't ever want to see that. I don't want to see that. Even as much as I watch true crime, I'm like, oh, back in the day, I said, oh, I want to see a dead body. But I'm like, Shantae, if you see one, you might be tripping, and then you see it for forever. And then you can't get that image out of your mind, But this vast land that I love so much, I also know that it serves as a graveyard to many people, to too many people.
A lot about grief. Our family knows grief.
Man, oh man.
My father passed when I was 16 years old.
Okay, so I want to look at this picture. Oh, oh. Look at Nancy and her young self, y'all. Look at this. Charles Guthrie died suddenly of a heart attack in 1988. Dang, that's sad. I wonder, did it run in his family? That's 49 years old. So no, they didn't. That's why she said she came home at 16 to hear, that's unfortunate. When you see families that go through all of these things, I mean, none of us are exempt from grief. None of us. And grief comes in different forms, right? Trauma comes in different forms and different modes. And dang, that's unfortunate. Dang. Nancy is beautiful, and you look, but she is so beautiful in her young age. Look at that. Such a beautiful family, and you just don't know how much trauma and grief. I appreciate Savannah for doing this interview. These are a lot of things I didn't know. I know that the dad had died, but I didn't know why he had died. I think I heard that he did die suddenly. seeing the video of them running around the pool. I have never seen that, but I also I've been researching some things, but I haven't been able to research everything. So it may have been on someone else's page, but I didn't see it. But it's a beautiful family. Let me see. Such a beautiful family. And it's just unfortunate.
He was only 49. It was a shock. And I remember my mom saying in those early days when Daddy died, like, you have to get up and decide and do. Just decide and do.
Wow.
And I'd read that in a book that meant a lot to her and her grief.
Decide and do. Because you can imagine well, we can't imagine, right? But if you've been married and your husband is no longer here, I can't imagine the grief of building a life with someone. And then, if someone is sick, you understand it, right? Like, okay, a terminal illness, you're kind of like prepared for you're prepared for death, right? You're preparing for their death if they have a terminal illness. But when it's sudden, that's different. A sudden death, and he just, a heart attack, and it was sudden, and they weren't ready for it. Of course, there's grief. And it's like you go to school one day, and then you come home, and your mom and your sister, your big sister, they're on the couch, and they're like, Daddy passed away. It's like, what the F? What, is, but decide and do. Decide and do. So unknowingly, Nancy didn't know that she was going to be abducted and missing for 54 days, but unknowingly, she prepared her children for this. And it's ironic that it's the baby that's doing the interviews and showing the most strength, right?
And so I always remember that. So I'm trying to decide and do. Just get up and decide and do every day.
Oh, I can do.
I've felt terrible grief, and I felt unfathomable love and comfort
At the same time. Mm-hmm.
The goodness and kindness of God is remarkable, and in equal measure to my sorrow.
Mm.
She showed us how to survive the unimaginable.
Wow.
When she lost my dad, she was 46 years old.
Wow.
She had 3 kids.
Oh, that's the door, guys.
She had never worked, survived the unimaginable. When
that's
she lost
the door.
And in equal measure to my sorrow. She showed us how to survive the unimaginable. When she lost my dad, she was 46 years old. She had 3 kids. She had never worked to survive the unimaginable. When she lost my dad, she was 46.
So that's the door, guys. Is that the door? That's probably the inside. Oh, no, that's the outside. You see the doorbell? Oh, man. She was 46 and he was 49. They were at they had the children, they were dead smack middle age. Like, all right, we love each other. We're building, we didn't bought this house. We started our careers. Our children are in school, and the baby was in high school. The rest of them were graduated, probably started their careers or in college, and this happens. Oh, this is sad.
6 years old. She had 3 kids. She had never worked outside the home.
Oh, wow. Wow. So she was a stay-at-home mom. Wow. We're seeing a different side of Nancy, right? P. Bows, thank you so much. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Judy says, I know what it's like. I was only 17 when my mom passed. Oh, I'm so sorry. Yes, we give you internet hugs. I love that. Unforgivable sins. And losing your mom at a young age is very hard, right? That's the person that's teaching you how to be a woman and things like that. That's very hard. But that had to be we're just seeing, I'm seeing Nancy in a different light. We all knew that Nancy was strong, right? But I'm seeing Nancy in a totally different light. She's never worked outside the home. Her husband suddenly has a heart attack and passes away at the age of 49. She has 3 children. Thank God 2 of them were probably adults, right? If Savannah was 16, then the other 2 probably were adults or almost an adult. And she had never worked outside the home. That has to be extremely hard. Now you are a single parent and you're going through grief in front of your children. And she taught them how to deal with grief. It's just giving me a new insight on Miss Nancy and seeing how strong she was, right? How strong she is, because Savannah still talks about her in present tense. So I guess Savannah's like, look, we're going to believe that mom is still alive until we get or receive information that she's not.
She had to get up. She had to find a job. She had to mother 2 teenagers and 1 young adult just starting making his way into the world.
See?
She took care of her mother.
See, 2 teenagers and 1 adult. Right? So I was right. Annie was an adult, but then she had 2 teenagers, right? She said she's taking care of her mom. She always got a smile on her face.
Her brother, who had Down syndrome, she invited to come live with us. She worked part-time to make ends kind of meet. She found a way, another job, a job she turned into a full-time job, a job she turned into a career. She had a second life of purpose and meaning. She had a million friends. She stayed strong for us.
And they met her. Right?
She was resolute. She was real. She grieved. I remember moments in my childhood and those days after my dad died. She was so strong. But some mornings before dawn, when she thought we were still sleeping, I would hear her crying at my door. To not be alone in her grief. So she taught me to be strong, but she taught me to be true.
She was a mother.
My faith is strong and resolute. But I, early on, felt that I heard, for one of the very few times in my life, I did hear God speak to me. As I said to myself, I can handle anything, God. I can handle anything. I just can't handle not knowing. We can't handle not knowing.
Yeah.
I have to know. And I heard a voice. And it said, you do know where she is.
Oh, man.
She's with me.
Oh, man. Oh, man. Whew. Okay, y'all. I gotta pause this. I gotta breathe. I gotta breathe. I gotta breathe. I'm not a mother, but I know that you all that are parents, that are moms, that y'all are, you cover to protect your children so much. You put on a mask when things aren't well, right? And you know that so many times we grieve in private, especially if there are people that are there. So for us to hear her say that her mom, and before the crack of dawn, before thinking no one is up, she would hear her mom crying because yes, the mother knows that she has to be strong for her children, but she's still human and she's still grieving her husband that they started this life together and then he just um abruptly is taken away from them. So for them to be going through this again, but to not have any answers, but it's just like, it's just so sad, to hear she's with me. But they need that. Yes, knowing okay, she's gone, but knowing that she was violently abducted and taken from her home, not knowing what happened between then and the time that she's gone, and then not having the body. A lot of times, as a human, we know that the person is no longer there. Their spirit has moved on. But many times people need somewhere to go to talk and pay their respects. And when the body is not found or the families don't have the body, that leaves a void in the person. Yes, consciously, okay. So she's saying that, she speaks about her mom in present tense, but she's saying that God told her, you know where she is. She's with me. And at day 54, I mean, an 84-year-old that has heart issues and has mobility issues, I mean, it's easy to say and to make the assumption that she's gone. She's gone. She's no longer on this planet. She's no longer in this realm with us. But I guarantee you it's still a hard pill to swallow because she cannot, they still don't have any resolution. Like she said, we need answers. They need that. And unfortunately, many families do not get that. When I see an ID channel, a true crime story, and it's like they never found the body, and it's hard for the families. And I'm just looking at the story on the outside, and I'm like, damn, that's messed up. That's messed up. Imagine, your family member being unalived, and then they were buried somewhere that was vast land, and now they built a highway. That was a Black woman. They're never going to find her body, right? It's just unfortunate when that happens.
She's with me.
That's hard. That's hard.
So whether she is on this earth still, or whether she is in heaven, I know where she is. I know who she's with.
Okay. So she's saying
But
either way.
Yes.
Need to know.
Correct.
I mean,
look,
Savannah
they all
has
sit here
been
sad.
on
You
display.
see this? This is just they all just like, You probably seeing grown men cry, right? They're all just like,
we
something.
need to know.
Not just, we don't know. I don't know Savannah. I don't know Nancy. But the people that Savannah has worked with, they know her. They've met her. So yes, they're solemn as well because they have met this woman. They've talked to her. They've interacted with her on multiple occasions. One thing we can say is, thank God that Miss Nancy showed her children love. Right? You always see them kissing their mom. Some of us didn't grow up with, the mom hugging and kissing and loving on you, some of us didn't grow up with that. But seeing this, pictures like this and the interaction, she loved on her children. And it's just so sad and unfortunate. But thankfully, if I could talk to any of her children, I guarantee you that they will say that mom has given us everything that we needed to deal with this. Unconsciously, she may not have known what she was giving us, but she gave us the tools to deal with this. She introduced us to our creator. So we have faith, and we have this faith that we don't see, we don't, without knowing. Well, faith is the not knowing, but believing that things are going to be okay, that God is going to bring us through that, because we go through things in life as a human, right? Or whatever. Life is just, we go through things, whether the animals go through things, whatever, but we have a conscious and whatever. I don't know what animals have because I've never been an animal, or I can't remember if I was an animal in a different life. But Nancy and her husband. But once the husband passed away, their father, Nancy has given them the tools to deal with grief. She was giving them the tools to deal with grief that had to do with the father passing away. Not her being violently taken from her home at the age of 84. I guarantee you Nancy thought, oh, well, I'm good. And she never thought that this would happen to her, But thankfully, she gave them the tools to know how to deal with grief. And nobody expected it to be this type of grief. They probably thought, well, in the next 30 years, if she lived to be 100 and something, that, sooner or later, we're all born to die. That's one thing that is guaranteed, is we're going to leave this planet one way or another, right? But I know that they never thought of their mom leaving this planet or being taken from her home or being taken from them in this manner, So we never know what life has in store for us. We never know. We never know. But I pray that we're given the tools to deal with these things when situations that we feel like giving up arise. I'm still trying to understand and deal with the tools that was given to me in my storm of my life. I thought, another storm was a storm of my life. No, this is the storm that I'm like, okay, is it going to take me out, God? Or am I going to fight through it? Am I going to live through this? Am I going to live through this, right? all of these horrible things that happened to me. Am I going to live through this? Because mentally, it's overwhelming. I can't take this. So we all have storms and scenarios. It's just that this storm, I guarantee you, this family didn't expect, right? But thankfully, Nancy gave them the tools, unconsciously and unknowingly, to deal with this, because she probably thought that the biggest grief was them losing their dad, right, at a young age. She probably never thought that this would happen, and her grandchildren and all of these people that love her, that are close to her, are dealing with the biggest grief of their life. But now the tools that were given to that were given to Savannah, Annie, and Cameron, or Charles, that they can pass those tools down to their children. Life is a crazy thing.
I mean, Savannah's faith has been on display over the years, but
need to know.
Hold on. Look at each and every one of them, right? They're all jacked up. They're like, what the hell? Oh gosh. Okay, so I'm just a hot crying mess over here. Okay, all right.
I mean,
I don't know what to say.
Savannah's faith has been on display over the years, but never quite like that.
I don't know if people realize that none of us have had much correspondence with her over this whole 54-day ordeal. So as we're watching this with the world, we're learning and unpacking so much about our dear friend.
Yeah.
Oh, see, y'all, I tell you, I didn't go to school for this, but they're learning things. They're looking at this with us. They didn't even know these things about Savannah, right? You go to work and you interact with people and this, that, and the third, but you're not telling them your life story and all these things. So they're learning these things. So of course they are reacting the way we reacted. Because like Carson Daly just said, this is day 54, but during this time, they didn't really interact with Savannah because Savannah was going through this, right? Correspond with her. It's the not knowing part would be the worst. Yes, I know a lot of people don't believe in psychics, but I've been watching one channel and it really opened my eyes. Yeah, some people don't believe in psychics, but I do believe that people have gifts. Are those gifts exploited? Yes. But I do believe that people do have supernatural gifts and they can see things.
Yeah.
And it's hard to process here in live TV ordeal. So as we're watching this with the world, we're learning and unpacking so much about our dear friend.
Yeah.
And it's hard to process here in live TV in the moment.
Yep.
Yeah.
But what's amazing is the very source of her pain is the very source of her faith.
Yeah.
And Nancy showing her the path, which is just amazing.
Hold on. Did I not just say that, guys? Did I not just say that? Did I not just say that? And I did not watch this. If you were on my live earlier, I just found this.
Thing is, the very source of her pain is the very source of her faith.
Yeah.
And Nancy showing her the path, which is just amazing.
So you get the sense by watching that. Obviously, the grief is just unfathomable. It's hard to watch. It seems like she's found some peace.
I think
She's found some peace.
I think she has found some, but I think she wants the answers too. She says that no one will steal the joy, No one can walk into their lives and steal that joy. But when she talked about the equal parts, like she's seen the best of humanity and the worst of it. She's seen the best of faith that's carried her through.
Balance.
And her mom taught her that, like still teaching her lessons to this day. I learned so many things that I did not know about Savannah in that moment myself, and Nancy especially.
And the thing about Nancy too was she had this wicked sense of humor. I remember saying something to her about a school in Arizona that did not accept Savannah, and she had a pithy remark that's not repeatable, but with a smile on her face.
I have to say, and since we've all met and known Nancy, to really understand who she is is really special. But we're going to hear a lot more from Savannah. She actually revealed what her plans are, not just returning home here to New York, but returning home here to today. So we're going to talk about that, her future. And then tomorrow night, I'm going to have more from our conversation. It's a special edition of Dateline. It's at 9, 8 Central. We'll learn even more.
We know you're watching, SG. We love you. Can't wait to have you back here. Again, if you know anything that could help bring Nancy home, we urge you to call that number on your screen, 1-800-CALL-FBI.
Hey,
oh God. Okay. All right. Okay, guys. All right. What I do want to do is go back to this picture, and then I'm gonna close out. So they said that what's crazy is they said that is that Don Lemon? That's not Don Lemon, right? Who is that black guy? Don't judge me, y'all. I don't know who he is. Throughout these interviews, these 2 interviews that we just watched, I was saying to myself, she does seem like she has that she's talking about faith, she's talking about God. And I was saying, like, it seems like God has given her the peace that surpasseth all understanding, right? Sometimes when you're going through a storm, you have this peace. You're crying, you're going through things, but you have this peace. God has given you this peace. I'm not going to lie, I'm starting to feel the peace of what I have been through these past 5 years, 5+ years. And I'm thankful for the people that have been around me and supporting me throughout this time. Some of the people I have never met. Okay, let me drink some water because you're not going to understand what I'm saying. Yes, I have PTSD, but I have a peace that I'm like, no matter what happens over there, Tay, you have your life. You have, yes, you have your mental. It's a little broken. It's a little damaged. But I have come to the realization that whatever happens with these cases over there in Africa, in the Gambia, whatever happens, I have a peace that I'm done. God, I've given it to you. I'm done. I've done what I was supposed to do. I fought the fight. I can't fight anymore. I've handed the case to the attorneys. I have someone helping me with another situation, but I'm done. So I get the peace, but you still want closure. And their closure for the Guthrie family is finding their mother, whether it's just finding her body, but finding their mom. So I understand on a different level. I have my own level of trauma that doesn't have to do with an abduction, but we all have trauma that we're dealing with or have dealt with. Shout out to the people that are healing from or have healed from their PTSD. I aspire to be more like you. But we pray for Nancy's return. In whatever form that looks like, we pray that her body is found. We pray for every missing person, that the families and the friends and the community can have closure. But we also know that that's not the reality many times. Many times, people are dealt horrible cards in life, and we have to live with what has happened. I just pray that it's not like that for them or for many of the missing people, but life sucks at times. And that's why we have to have a healthy outlet. Mine is fitness. Mine is fitness. That's my outlet. And food. Because if I eat properly and I eat my DNA food, that's going to heal my mental and my body, which is going to heal me spiritually. I'm going to feel more comfortable in my skin again, right? That's how in fitness, if I'm angry, okay, let's leave all of this ish right here in this workout. But as a human being living in this world, we have to find a healthy outlet. And for me right now, my faith is shaky. It's shaky. If I'm being honest, my faith is shaky. I'm like, God, really? But what's the old song? Nobody told you that the road would be easy. But I don't believe he brought me this far to leave me. So no matter whatever happens with the Guthrie family, I can rest and have solace that Nancy, after she abruptly lost her husband, that she gave her children the tools that they needed to deal with something that they didn't know was coming 40 years later. Unforgivable Sin says, 27 years ago, I was faced with an unexpected life-changing situation, and I let it control my every emotion for about 3 years, until one day I woke up and decided it wasn't worth losing my sanity over. Well, that just spoke to my spirit. And ironically, that's, y'all see me, you see the PTSD, you'll see me cry. The PTSD is you having emotions that may not fit that situation. And that's what y'all see. I don't hide it. Why? I may look psychotic at times. I may look crazy. That's what PTSD does to you. When things hit you that's so traumatic that it shakes your sanity and it shakes your world, that's what PTSD does. That's what it is. I don't know if that's the textbook definition, but that's what it is. And unfortunately, we have people that are out here that are so miserable with their lives that they will, well, that's what you get. What? That's what blah, blah. They say the most diabolical things. And you can't do anything about it unless you'll go to jail, right? But I woke up one day and God has sent me someone that is like, I'll handle it for you. I got you. I don't have to do anything, right? I found this out, blah, 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 da, da, da. They don't have to do that for me. They don't have to, and this person is not American. Not the way I talk about Gambia, this shithole country, blah, blah, you know what I mean? Like, they're like, I got you. Because they said to me, I see what my people are doing to you, and I'm not going to let it happen. I don't care if they say and they come for me. I'm a man. I will say, fuck off. That's what they say. And I'm grateful to him for that. Because how many people that live in the Gambia saying Alhamdulillah and thank you, Jesus, and was not there to support someone, right? So I'm grateful. But I woke up and I talked to him recently and I said, look, fake husband. I called him fake husband. I said, look, no matter what happens, I'm done. I've given it to God. I am done. I will no longer let this hold me hostage, right? Now, yes, emotions come up. Yes, I talk about it. Yes, hopefully one day I'll be ready to talk about it and just put it all in a book. Because I realize when people ask me, well, what happened? There's so many things that comes with a financial crime, right? They're so intricate. There's so many different pieces of criminal behavior that I can't tell it in one video. I can't tell it in 2 videos. I can't tell it in 3 videos. I can be more descriptive in a book. So when Unforgivable says, when you're ready, when everyone that has said, when you're ready, it's going to happen. It's coming. It's coming. And ironically, through all of this with Nancy, I have found someone that is creative, descriptive, live right here in Tucson, right? That can help me get to where I need to be to write. So I'm focusing on something that I've always wanted to do. And that's my focus now. This is why you all didn't see me out there at Nancy Guthrie's and, in the daytime, and Monday through Wednesday, I'm super busy and things like that. But I've decided, and what made me focus on this is because I see how in 5 years, I've been fighting these criminals and just wasting my time. A criminal doesn't care about time being wasted because they're criminals. They don't care. Right? But I realized, I said, you know what? I'm done. You think I'm going to let I didn't gain 30 pounds. You think I'm going to let these people continue to keep me in this role, keep me on this, on this hamster wheel because they are criminals and they don't have anything going good for their lives? Sometimes you have to remind yourself who you are and whose you are. So I'm grateful for the peace that I didn't even know, the peace of, I'm done. I didn't buy land. I'm not stuck in that shithole country. I'm done. I'm grateful for that peace. And once I did what my pocketbook says, my bag, change your thoughts, change your life, I was able to move into a home that I always wanted to move into. Yes, it hasn't been good with the management and all this other nonsense, right? But I have a home with natural light in a backyard. That's all I wanted. And a kitchen with an island, right? Everything else is a bonus. So even when you're going through the storm, I'm grateful for the peace. Even when I don't have the resolution, right? Yeah, Unforgivable says interesting that they want you to call the FBI and not Nanos. Well, right now Nanos is, if you all don't know, it's the Holy Spirit. Right now, if you don't know, the board of supervisors, I guess the people that are in charge of the county and everything, they have voted to have Nanos, the sheriff, come and testify under oath and be questioned in regards to the I'm putting quotation marks, the clerical errors that they said, right? That Nano said that the clerical errors that they said were clerical errors, but what he spoke about under oath, they want to question him about that under oath. And like I said in the beginning of this video, I don't know if they're going to talk about this. I don't know if the Nancy Guthrie abduction, and how this case was handled is what pushed this to people finding out things. Because the internet detectives are the best. Y'all, I'm telling y'all, the internet detectives, y'all have all these different skills, and y'all put it together and y'all find out things that, Lord Jesus, we didn't even know. Right? So this is history in the making for Tucson, for society, for the nation, but specifically because it's in Tucson, this is history in the making. And we're watching this in real time, and I'm just in awe. You're kind of desensitized with looking at things on TV and this, that, and the third, but when you are here and you're seeing it in real time, it kind of really hits home. The fact that I can drive not even 30 minutes and I can be right at Nancy Guthrie's home. That's kind of scary. Right? Judy, thank you so much. Judy says, I'm so sorry for what you have been through, Tay, and I pray God gives you answers and some peace. Love you too, my friend. It shakes your foundation. That's what it does. When you go through a storm, it shakes your foundation. Elisa, welcome, Elisa. Happy Thursday. Friday Night Frights is a little bit early, but I wanted to go over these interviews since they had just dropped this morning. And we thank you, Savannah, for sharing private pictures, private videos, home videos that we have never seen, for showing us a piece of you and your mom, your family. I don't know. I guess the interview came at the time that it's supposed to come, right? But this just shows Savannah in a different light, where her coworkers are saying, we didn't even know this. We all have a story. We all have a story to tell. It's just that many times we don't always get a chance to tell our stories. But when Savannah said that she heard God say, you know where she is, just as clear as day, I hear God saying, you're looking for different ways to make money, to set you up for that first line in the book that you wrote. You're looking for different ways, but I've given you a way. And you telling your story in a book or books is going to be so helpful to others. So these interviews that we've watched with Savannah were in regards to her mom, but these interviews has touched my spirits so much that it's healing. It's healing in certain ways. Me and my sister were just talking about faith. She admitted that she fell off on praying like she used to after the death of my nephew. Praying every day is what is helping her deal with the loss of him. Thank you, Eliza. Like I said, sometimes I can't pray. Sometimes the pain and the anger is so bad. I listen to praise and worship, because then the songs come on with the words. And for me, I didn't used to cry as much. Now going to the Gambia, dealing with what I've been through, I can cry on demand, y'all. I could literally cry on demand. I can literally cry on demand just thinking about one of the things I've been through in the Gambia. I can literally cry on demand. But I am God is telling me I need to lean on him. I need to lean on my creator. So many times we look for validation within family, friends, an outside source. But I'm getting there. I'm slowly but surely I'm getting there. This is why the whole backyard situation, I want that taken care of. You know, who knows? Hopefully we pray within the next 2 days they come and they get rid of the stump. So that way I can take some things, set up the backyard, put up my tent, set up the backyard the way I need to, put some things, take some things out of my house, put it in the shed. And the main thing I want to do is to set up my meditation area in my room. Get up, don't touch my phone. No. Go to the bathroom and read. Today, I choose happiness, right? That's what's over top of my toilet. And to go and sit down and do my positive affirmations and pray and have my water, because water calms me, have my water thing. Some people may call it an altar, right? But people have prayer rooms. It's just that when you start doing other things that are spiritual, people say, oh, you dealing with the devil. No, you do what works best for you. And to have my little rock water thing going and let me do what I need to do for myself to heal myself. Because God is within all of us, right? Whether people call it the Holy Spirit, your creator is within you. So we do have God, small g, within us. And it's crazy that I was on a continent, in a country that is very spiritual, but they're dealing with voodoo and black magic, and they're dealing with the demonic side of the spiritual realm. When I say that the journey that I'm going through is a spiritual fight, it is. And people that live in the Gambia, they don't realize that. I don't know if they realize it because they're starting to act just like the people in the country. And it's like, ooh, well, I don't want to be in Rome and dealing with that. So thank you for that, Eliza. And this is a healing journey. It's not going to be overnight. I'm not going to heal overnight for what I've been through for these past 5 years. No. But I'm going to heal out loud. I'm not going to be in my room healing. I'm going to be right here online because Gambians wanted me to show the good side. So once they know what I've been through, they, oh, well, somebody just unfriended me. And I'm like, you unfriended me and you're living in Minnesota? Well, good luck with that. And you're a Gambian? Wow. So you don't like the truth. So as long as they gave money to put up a light. Why didn't these Gambians think of using their own platform? Because from what fake husband said, Gambians don't donate their time. What? They don't volunteer. You think I'm giving you free? No, you got to pay me to do this. And I'm like, wow, for their own people? But they'll praise a foreigner from coming in. Oh, thank you for helping the needy. Thank you for this. And then will keep their mouths shut when their same people will come and rob and steal and beat and kill. They won't say anything. I don't want to be around people like that. That's a hypocrite. Eliza said he prayed all the time and would ask her auntie, did you pray today? Oh my goodness. She would knock on his door, on his room door. He would say, auntie, I'm praying. That's what she remembers about him. And I know that you said that he was unalived. So unconsciously, Eliza, your nephew gave his mom and y'all the tools to deal with grief. You see that? Just like Miss Nancy gave her children the tools, because we found out that Savannah is the baby. Gave her the tools to gave every last one of her children the tools to deal with grief, not knowing that this unfathomable grief will come with this crime that has happened. I don't know. The older I get, as long as I keep my eyes open and that third eye is open, I'm just seeing a lot of different things that I wish I saw when I was younger, but I wasn't. Like, evidently my mental wasn't there. It wasn't ready. Okay, so thank you, Unforgivable Sins, for letting Nina know what was going on. Savannah, God wants you to think back concerning a time in your life you were confronted by someone, not a good person or persons. When you remember it, will lead you to suspects and mom. Okay, so let me read that properly. Savannah, Nina came in and said, Savannah, God wants you to think back concerning a time in your life you were confronted by someone, not a good person. Okay, confronted by someone, not a good person or persons. When you remember it, will lead you to suspects and mom. I do feel like it's someone that is that knew them, that were watching them. Not saying it was a family member or someone. It could be like someone came in here and they said that it. I think it was Jennifer Hodge. She said that when she was younger, when she was 12, a friend of hers, her childhood friend, was taken in unalive, and was done by a family friend. So when things like this happen, it's always by someone, not always. Wait, did she say it was? No, it was by a serial. I'm sorry. It was by a serial unaliver. I might be mixing this up. I might be mixing up two different stories. But let me just say this. Most of the time when crimes like this happen, it's from someone that knows you or knows of you, right? 99% of the time. That 1% is stranger unaliving, serial unalivers, things of that nature, crimes of opportunity. Those are those crimes of that nature. But most of the time, 99% of the time, these crimes like this are done by someone that knows you or knows of you. Okay. Tay, ask your handyman to check about the cost of stump grinder. They have handheld ones. He could probably do himself. I'm not paying anyone to do that. Thank you for that, Unforgivable Sins, but I'm not paying anyone to do that. If it was my home, then I would, but I'm not paying anyone to do that. Because God forbid if something happens, then that's on me. Then I'm gonna have to go through my insurance. I'm gonna let them handle it. It's just unfortunate that people don't think about things before the fact, because they came in here, they know what the stump grinder looks like, right? They know of all these different things. This is their career. And not one time did they think about, oh, hey, blah, blah, blah. But from what the handyman was saying, they just come in and they tell them where to go. But it's management. Most of the time, if you see a company that's lollygagging and not, it's management. Most of the time it starts from the top. It's management. And I thought that they removed the stump from the other home. They didn't. He said that one's still there too. So why didn't they schedule that? A squeaky wheel gets attention. But why didn't they schedule that? They can open up their gate and slide it right in. From what maintenance said that management was already having issues with this company. They were already having issues with this company. So it's management of the landscaping company. But I appreciate the information. I just wouldn't do that. Yeah, I would just let them handle it. It is what it is, right? It is what it is. Hopefully they'll come back tomorrow or the next day. I did contact the complex. I did leave a voicemail message. I will contact them again because they should be open now, and tell them as to what happened, because evidently these people do not communicate. The landscaping company, from management to supervisors or however their hierarchy is to the workers, they don't communicate. Then the management complex here, they don't communicate with the landscaping company. It's just lack of communication all around. Yes, does it make the tenant or the resident uncomfortable and what's the word I'm looking for? Where I have to do things that I shouldn't have to do, right? But if I want it done properly, then I have to make phone calls. That's part of being in America. I don't know if it's part of being anywhere else, but in America, you have to follow up yourself because I don't know. People are at work. They're thinking about my husband left me. He's cheating on me. My wife is this. My children are trifling. They're just thinking about life. And sometimes when we go to work, we're just on, what do you call it? We're on autopilot. We're just on autopilot. Same thing, type this in, same thing, same thing. Yeah, I'm just gonna have to stay on top of them. They're gonna have to come back, but thank you. Thank you. I just wouldn't want to put myself into any danger or safety violations, since they already said something about a safety violation and mentioned my lease. And I don't want to rock the boat. I don't want to rock the boat, and I feel like what I have said to them already, I feel like what I have said to them already and what the interaction with the different things that has happened, since I moved here, whether it was my fault or whether I didn't do anything wrong, whether somebody else's, my neighbor's fault or whatever, I feel like I don't want to be that tenant, right? I'm already African American in a predominantly Caucasian and Latin state, and people do judge me no matter what, right? That's just what it is. And I just don't want to rock the boat. I'm gonna have to sue my neighbor in regards to my knee, and it's unfortunate. I already had to dispute a charge, and then I had to dispute them sending me to a collection agency when that was done in error. So I'm just like, whatever, whatever, whatever. There's certain battles I will pick and choose. You have to pick and choose your battles. This is hiring someone else and doing it myself is not something that um, not a battle that I choose, that I wish to choose to do. I don't choose that battle. Yeah, it's just you know crazy that they didn't think about this before the fact. But these are the same people that lied on me, right? Oh well, we're concerned about this, and so it's just all you can do is just protect yourself and just move on. I don't know. I don't know. Whenever they do it, maybe over the weekend. Because Saturday I'm going to the church again to get free food, right? Not this church that I went to the other day. I'm going to another church. Hopefully I can get some fruit because I really don't have a lot of fruit here. I ate all my apples with peanut butter. I have some grapefruit. I'm gonna have a grapefruit for kind of brunch because I haven't eaten. I've been up since 6:30. So I'm gonna make some breakfast or some brunch and we'll get some work done. But Saturday I'm going to the church, and then Saturday morning I'm going to the church, and then sometime Saturday I have an appointment finally for my global entry. Right, I have my interview. So this is just another days that has passed that I can't do what I need to do because other people don't do what they need to do. So it's just unfortunate. Excuse me, it's just unfortunate. Hey, Carrie Lynn. Yeah. So the thing is I'll send you an email, Unforgivable Sins. I'll send you an email. I think it's a lot that has to do with that. And if they couldn't, yeah. So we'll see. But I thank you all for joining me. Thank you so much for joining me. Please forgive my crying and things like that. This is just, I think, watching Savannah share things, and she did an excellent interview. Now, I think that there is more. They just kind of chopped it up, right? But I do know that if Savannah's going back to work, this is going to be news, right? Not being rude or anything, we know that this is news, and she works there, so they're going to be talking about it. And then the higher ups, the CEOs and the executives, they want numbers, right? So it's going to bring ratings. I just hope that with all of that, it also brings closure to this family. That's what I'm hoping. But thank you so much for joining me, you all. I appreciate you. Hug your family member, contact your mom, your grandmother, tell them you love them. Continue to look out for your elders. And I'm going to close with P Bows 4582 says, thank you for the warm welcome, Tay. God bless you in your wonderful chat. Have a blessed day. I hope you all have a great Thursday, and I'll see you soon. Take care.